Hello everybody, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. Hope you're all doing well, nice to be live. Tonight we're going to have a game of Deal or No Deal. I haven't got any boxes for you to open and look inside, but we are going to be looking at what is effectively Ten Hag's future dilemma. You may have seen it today with David de Gea talking about a new deal, but there's a few other players who are looking for a new deal at Manchester United, and it may not well be a very easy decision for Erik Ten Hag to make as he looks to build Manchester United. Can he rely on these players that want new contracts and big money for it? We'll discuss that. We'll also be talking about Anthony, a few other bits that have hit the press today, Ten Hag, development, where we're going, things like that. Lots to get involved in. It's nice to be live. I'm a little bit late because I went live on Twitch. Sometimes I do this. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Put the blame on me. Don't put the blame on me. Anyway, hope we're all doing well. I'm looking forward to it tonight. Get your questions in. And don't forget, we hit 1.5 million subscribers yesterday during the 2-1 win against Everton. We are now the first football fan channel to hit 1.5 million subscribers. And if you are part of this community, that's your achievement as much as it's mine. I mean, it's mainly mine, let's be honest, but no, I'm joking. It's because of you. It's amazing. And I did promise that there would be memberships gifted out today. We will be gifting, because we've hit 1.5 million subscribers, we'll be gifting no. We're going to be gifting 50 memberships tonight. So get ready for that. We'll be doing that in a little bit. But before we get into all of that, we are sponsored by Boohooman, which I always love because I get to wear some of the Boohooman Active range, which you can see here. The weather's getting cooler. I want to feel a bit cozier. And this hoodie is the Boohooman Active in red and black, and it is really snug and it's nice. And whether you are down the gym, going for a walk, or just snuggling up to watch the latest Game of Thrones, and as you can see, I've got a bit of a sore throat. It's lovely. And they do loads of stuff that you can get with 40% off through Boohooman. But not only that, when we're sponsored by Boohooman, they always like to do something a little bit extra for you, a bit of trivia. So this week, I want you people to see if you can guess which United player Boohooman are actively talking about from these below clues. Boohooman Active, you see. So here we go. I was born on the 17th of March, 1989. I wish I was. I joined Manchester United from Dortmund in 2012. I know it. I played 38 games for Manchester United, scoring 6 goals. During my United career, I won the Premier League and the Community Shield. Ooh. I left United in 2014 to rejoin Dortmund. Who am I? Do you know who it is? In the chat. If you do, let us know, and I will shout somebody who gets it first. It's not Nani. He didn't come from Dortmund. It is not Roy Keane. Loads of people saying Nani. We've got him from Sporting Lisbon, not Dortmund. Uzar, thank you. Welcome to the Members Club. It, of course, was Kagawa. Makatak got it with 1986. People are saying Mkhitaryan and Nani. Bloody hell. I thought we were... Who let the thickos out tonight? Bloody hell. Nani and Kagawa from Dortmund in 2012. Come on. You're better than that. It's Kagawa. Of course it's Kagawa. This is where you get real chat, you see. There's no papering around the cracks here. We say it as it is. If you said Nani or Mkhitaryan, you're either thick or too eager. So... listen back to what the clues were. Of course, it was Shinji Kagawa of Dortmund. I liked him. I hoped it was going to work out. It just didn't, did it? And it was Sir Alex who built him. As always, Boohooman are giving United Stand a discount for this video, so you can get, by scanning the QR code next to me or going through the link in the video description, you can get 40% off. Yes, 40% off by using the code GOLDBRIDGE. And thanks very much to Boohooman as always. I love the little bit of United trivia. Thanks for supporting the show. And don't forget, GOLDBRIDGE is the code, 40% off. You're also starting to hit that period now where if you want to be organised, you could start buying yourself some Christmas stuff. 40% off. Get them something like this, wrap it up, you've saved some money, you've got a Christmas present sorted. Yabba dabba do. There you go. Thanks everyone for getting involved in that. Right, let's get into the show. So, Ten Hag's future dilemma. What are we talking about here? What we're talking about here is we're talking about a select few players that are current first team players that decisions need to be made on about their future. David de Gea, he spoke about it last night, but not just David de Gea. What about Marcus Rashford? What about Luke Shaw? What about Anthony Martial? I want to talk about those 4 players specifically because in their own way, they're performing pretty good for Manchester United at the moment. And they're all of that age, really, where they're on very good wages. None of those players are on below about 180 grand a week. They're all coming towards the end of their deals. Do you give them new deals? Are they part of the build? Are they worth it? Or are they actually concerns that you might want to move out? So we'll talk about that in a bit. Hi, Mark. I've just had a shower, says Emmanuel. Notice how clinical our forwards have been since we brought that striker coach in, says Emmanuel. You know what, Emmanuel? That went completely the way I'm happy the way it went. But when you start off with you just had a shower and then you talk about how clinical our strikers are, thank you, because I thought it was going to go somewhere very different. Yeah, that's a relief. I hope you enjoyed your shower. Hi, Mark. Congratulations on 1.5 million subscribers. You've done a fantastic job to get this far. Let's go towards 2 million, says DJ. Oh, I don't know about that. I said that at 1 million, though, didn't I? We'll have to wait and see. I also just want to say as well, I think it's very important when we do this, that when we call somebody out or we identify something and we say, oh, I don't know whether I agree with that, you should always, if they change their mind or come out with a good take, acknowledge that. Now, I thought Paul Scholes was a little bit harsh on Anthony last week, called him a one-trick pony. He was right to criticise the wingers. They didn't help out in the Manchester derby, but he did say Anthony's a bit of a one-trick pony. He acknowledged yesterday that he liked how Anthony played against Everton, the pressing from the front, the getting in behind. So, look, it's not a big section. I just want to say Paul Scholes, a legend of this football club. I don't think there's a legend of this football club who consistently has good opinions. But when they do, I think we should call it out. And, you know, I thought he got it wrong, saying that Anthony was a one-trick pony. And I said he's probably never seen him really play a lot for Ajax, like most people. But he certainly isn't the player who doesn't know how to press, doesn't know how to work, and doesn't know how to get in behind. And he's acknowledged that. So, yeah, good to hear that from Scholesy. Mark, my wife has bought hospitality for the game on Sunday. She's now divorced for funding the Glazers, says Daniel Longbottom. Ooh, that's harsh. Thank you very much for the super chat there. Go and enjoy your hospitality at Newcastle. You know, why shouldn't you enjoy yourself? Man United, Ten Hag's boys, you know. I don't know where I stand on that. I don't really want to talk about the Glazers tonight unless people really want to talk about it. I mean, of course I'm Glazers out. I've said it a million times. I've got paint on my top. But look, if you've got tickets to go and watch Manchester United at the weekend, no one should begrudge you that. You know, there is a line here. There is Glazers who've been at the club for over a decade and we want them out. And then it's like, well, should people not go and watch Manchester United? Of course you should if you want to go. The Golden Stand. Congratulations, Mark, and to all the United Stand team members for reaching 1.5 million, says Ihab. Thank you very much. Does you need a new bath bridge, says Henrik. I've just had a bath. I don't think I need a new one. Anyway, getting back to the point. I want to start off with David de Gea. So we're going to talk about de Gea, Shaw, Rashford, Martial, and whether you'd give them a new deal. Now, de Gea, Shaw, Rashford have got 1 year left on their deal. In the summer, their deals are up, but we've got the option for a further year. Martial, his contract's up in 2024, so he's actually got 18 months left on his deal with the option of a further year. But Martial does want to resolve his future. Martial's not in a situation like a Rashford or a Shaw where he's like, oh, well, I'll talk about my contract in a year. Martial actually wanted to leave United a few months ago and will still want to leave United if they don't give him a new contract and offer him first team football. So although his contract's not as imminent as Rashford and De Gea and Shaw, it is still a decision that Erik Ten Hag is going to have to resolve because Martial wanted to leave and has only put it on hold to see how his future goes at United. So there's 4 players I want to talk about there. Let's get into it. So, look, first of all, David de Gea said after the game yesterday that he'd love to stay at Manchester United and sign a new contract. I think it's been a really interesting... And in fact, look, we'll do this one by one because we've got polls. So let's go De Gea. La 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 la. De Gea. We're going to do poll on every one of these. I'm a genius. New contract. So De Gea is there for you to vote while I talk about it, and we'll do all 4, and we'll see what you think on it. I'm very interested to see, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who will be using this for their Twitter pages, etc. later on. So De Gea new contract, yes or no? I think that for me, right now, the answer is, if I had to make a choice, I'm not going to sit on the fence and say, let's see what happens. If I have to make a choice tonight, yes or no, on a David de Gea contract, yes. One, I think he deserves it because of what he's done for the club over the years, but that's not a great reason. The real reason for me is that I have seen improvement on De Gea, and I have said it, and a lot of you have disagreed with me, but I have seen an improvement, and I knew that would happen. If you If you don't think some of our players are going to improve under Ten Hag, what was the point in bringing him in? How can you sit there, which most of us have done, for the last 2 years saying these players have not been coached, they've not had any coaching. Bruno's the same player he was when we signed him from Sporting Lisbon, which is true. If you sit there saying Solskjaer didn't coach players and now we need a coach in Ten Hag, how can you sit there and say that some players won't improve? And I've done this already. I've done it on a members video. You can check it out. De Gea. Check the members video about De Gea. And that was from a couple of weeks ago before the Everton game. And I said, if you look at De Gea statistically this season and compare him to last season, there's already a big improvement in relation to key areas like coming for crosses, passing out from the back, his accuracy on that, the volume of passes he's making. It was already gone up by about 50%. The amount of passes he's playing has gone up by 50% compared to last year already, before the Everton game. So there has been a gradual improvement in his game. And I think what we saw yesterday against Everton was another step forward in relation to, there was a number of first-time passes in wet and windy conditions. There was a number of times he came out of his box. Now, if De Gea is playing like that at the start of October, what might he be playing like in January, February, March? And if he keeps improving, we're going to get a better and better goalkeeper. So I'm not 100% convinced yet, but he's definitely getting better. And ultimately, it comes down to Ten Hag's decision. And I think at the moment, if you said to Ten Hag, do you want to give David de Gea a new contract? I think he's starting to think, maybe I do. Because one thing that people do not give David de Gea the credit for is the vast amount of experience and leadership he has in that squad and respect. Everybody loves De Gea. Whether it's Marcus Rashford, Cristiano Ronaldo, Rafael Varane, Harry Maguire, they all do respect and like David de Gea. He's well liked, he's well respected, and he's a big voice in that dressing room. That's important. You look at Leicester, I think one of Leicester's big problems this season is losing Kasper Schmeichel. And I think that losing David de Gea, you might get a better up-and-coming sweeper keeper, but you will lose in those first few years what we lost when Schmeichel went and Van der Sar went. So I think that, I probably would give De Gea a new contract at the moment. And I am seeing improvement. And I tell you what, I'm not interested in hate or falling out with people. I think people can be very toxic and agenda-driven on social media. But I will applaud it when I see a lot of those people yesterday saying, you know what, if De Gea can play like that every week, I'm on his side. And I think that is ultimately the path to redemption if he needs it with anybody. We've seen it with Luke Shaw. I think we can see it with Maguire. I think we've seen it with McTominay. You can be a player, and Rashford and Bruno, you can be a player that deserved a lot of criticism. But if you can play well in a United shirt and do it in the right way, you will reap the rewards. And I think De Gea, there's a long way to go, but he is a leader as well. Exactly. His class of his own, says Shane. The wages are big, Michael, and I was going to come to that. But, the wages are big. Sean Walker says, David De Gea with a lower wage is insane. How much are we going to pay for a new goalkeeper? And I think that's a great point as well. A new goalkeeper will cost a lot of money unless you take a gamble on someone like Lafont, which I do like, but he would... I did a video on this in the international break. I think for me, I would buy Lafont, someone like that, a developmental keeper to work alongside De Gea over the next 2 years. That's what I would do. That's why I'd give him a new contract. I wouldn't be looking to get rid of De Gea to spend 40, 50 million pounds on a Maignan or someone like that, or a Robert Sanchez from Brighton, because that's what it will cost. And then who's going to buy De Gea? I think the logical decision for United is to keep De Gea and bring in a developmental goalkeeper next to him. I think that's the way to go. So it would be a yes from me. Of course, I'm not going to lie and say that this is a very fluid situation. If De Gea's form drops off again and his distribution drops off again, then you've got to revisit it. But right here, right now, I think the answer is to give him a new contract and to bring in a developmental goalkeeper next to him that's not Dean Henderson, let's be honest. Somebody that really wants to learn the spot and earn the spot over the next 2 years. I think that's the way to go. But I will add, can we get his wages down? Because 350 grand a week, can you get him to take a pay cut? Yes, you can. Because I would say to David De Gea, look, you've had a few years on that wage. It was a silly wage. No one else is going to give you that wage elsewhere. If you think you can get that somewhere else, please, I think it's best for you to go, David. We're not being disrespectful, but we want to bring that contract down to, 280. And we'll give you 3 more years on 280. Or maybe 250, but you might not get him that low. But, What you can't do is disrespect him. You can't just try and just say, what, we're refusing to do that. You've got to have an honest... I'd just sit him down and say, look, I want you to stay. I want you to be part of the future. But no one's going to give you 350 grand a week, David. So... Because what you don't... But what he might say is, well, we'll see about that. I'll run my contract down. You've got to handle it very, very carefully. And it's not De Gea's fault. And it's not the people who negotiate on it now's fault. Again, this is a legacy of stupid mistakes of the past where you're giving an injured Phil Jones 5 years. I would have to say only give De Gea a new contract right now. I like the others, but Erik ten Hag needs a chance to build his own team from scratch, says Stephen Rossi. Thank you very much. So 74% of you said yes, you would give him a new contract. So let's talk Anthony Martial next. Would you give Anthony Martial a new contract? Because these are the two players that for me are the key to, really. De Gea is also, by stats, the best shot stopper. There we go. Interesting. So new contracts for Martial. Now, the situation with Martial is somewhat different. And it's a harder one, which I really need to get into with you good people. Anthony Martial is on somewhere between 200 and 260 grand a week. He is on a contract of that, somewhere between that, 200 and 260 grand a week. It could be 250, it could be 220, I don't know, but it is somewhere between that. His contract isn't up until 2024 and there is an option for another year. Now, people would say we don't need to discuss this, but we do, because he wanted to leave. And basically, Martial, and it's pretty well known that Martial and his agent haven't even decided if they want to leave United yet, because they want to see how much game time they're going to get. Basically, if Martial gets fit and Ronaldo plays every week, Martial will ask to go. So the question is it worth, when Martial knocks on the door in the next few months and says, I want a new contract, or I'm leaving, do you give him that new contract? Fitness is the issue, exactly. RJ says give him 275k and a new contract. You know what? If I have to say yes or no right now, I'm going to gamble and say no. You've got 2.5 years left on your deal. Earn it. Now, it could backfire because his agent might say, that's disrespectful. We want a new contract now. We said we wanted to go a few months ago. If you're not going to give us a new contract, there's the transfer request. But then that answers your own question. Because I want to... And this is different to De Gea. It's different to Rashford. It's different to Shaw. The situation with Martial on last update was... he either wants a new contract and to be the first team player, or he wants to leave. That's where we're at. And that came out a few weeks ago as well. So if I've got Anthony Martial's agents to me saying in a month's time, Martial's scored a few goals in the last few weeks, you either give him a new contract or we want to go, I would say, hold on a minute. The last 2 years, you've been injured or out of form. You've still got 2 years left on your deal. I want you to stay, but I want you to show me why you should stay. You're still going to play, but I want 6 months of consistent performance and less injuries, and then I will give you a new contract. If you don't do that, see who wants to buy you. So I think the answer with Martial right now is no. I'm not giving you a new contract because I want to see the dedication to Manchester United, and I want to see the performances, and I want to see the injury issues resolved. Right now, I can't give you a new contract because for the last 2 years of your contract, you've earned 250 grand a week or thereabouts. You've hardly played and you've been injured a lot. I can't justify a new contract. But what I can say is, look at the game time I've given you. I've started you when you're fit. You're a big part of my plans. So basically, what I'm looking for from you, Anthony, is dedication to the Manchester United cause. I've already proven that I will give you a chance. I've already proven that you're fundamental to my plans. That number 9 shirt is there for you. You're mid-20s. Ronaldo's 37. That shirt's for you. You could be Man United's starting striker under me, but I won't be held to ransom to give you a new contract without seeing whether you can stay fit and stay consistent. So right now, no, I wouldn't give Martial a new contract, but not because I don't think he's good enough, because I think he's got to earn it. And he can earn it by retracting any discussion about leaving, retracting any discussion about I'm waiting to see what my role is. Earn your fucking role. I've already started you in games. I've already championed you. I've already said that you are going to start games for me. You need to focus on getting fit and consistent, and then you'll get your trophy. Then you'll get your contract. But let's be honest, Anthony, and I'm more talking to your agent here. What are you wanting a new contract for? What are you wanting guarantees from me when you can't even stay fit or perform consistently? So yes, you're a massive part of my future. Go and earn it. Simple as that. Simple as that. So at the moment, 38% of you wouldn't give Martial a contract, 62% would. And I would presume it's for the same reason, not because you don't think he's good enough, but because you think he's got to earn it. Majek says, don't play Ronaldo in the Europa League. We need him for the league. He's our only available striker. And Mark Holder says, De Gea wears our shirt with pride. So I'm going to do the memberships in a minute, Matthew. So the next player I want to talk about is Luke Shaw. New contract for Luke Shaw. I'm loving this. It's good. I like these sort of interactive shows. If Martial thinks not giving him a new contract is not fair, even thinking of asking for a new one is an insult to the club itself, says Mario. And you know what? I'd say the same as what I said about David de Gea. It's all right saying I want a new contract and I want to be guaranteed first team football, or otherwise I'm going to put a transfer request in. Well, who's going to buy you, mate? You've got 2 years left on your deal. We want a fee, and you're on 250 grand a week, so no one's going to pay you that. So realistically, you've always got to manage the agent, and you've always got to manage the personality of the player. But really, Man United, I'd be like, stop talking to me about you might want to leave. Stop talking to me about wanting a new contract. No one's going to buy you, and no one's going to pay you the wage. We're paying you the wage. We are offering a contract as a carrot in the future. Now, go and stay fit and perform. And you will be given the opportunity to do that. Go and enjoy yourself. Simple as that. Would you give Luke Shaw a new contract? I think if I'd asked this question a couple of weeks ago, it would have been a stone hard no. Now, Luke Shaw, you've got to make a decision on Luke Shaw. Dalot, Fred, Rashford, De Gea, and Luke Shaw, and maybe somebody else who I can't think about, those 5 players have got 1 year left on their deal. We can give them all an extended year, but basically their contracts are up in 2024 summer, which isn't far away. Basically, their contracts are up next summer, but we can add a year. But that doesn't do a lot, because if you say to Luke Shaw, we are adding another year on, you can still run it down and leave for nothing. So you've still got to make a decision on Luke Shaw in the next 6 months. Now, what decision do you make? He, again, is rumoured to be on somewhere between 170 and 200 grand a week. Luke Shaw. He's in his late 20s now. He's been quite inconsistent. Do you renew that contract and take him into his early 30s on 200 grand a week? Do you do it? And it's a dilemma. It is a dilemma, because sometimes it's not as simple as going, yeah, let's just do it. 200 grand a week is more money than most of the Man City squad who are winning titles. It's a lot more money than most of the Liverpool squad who've won a title and the Champions League. So are you getting VFM? Are you getting value for money? And the honest answer is we don't get a lot of value for money out of most of our squad. Like, Brandon Williams is on about 50 grand a week, apparently. I mean, he's basically a glorified youth player who's never fulfilled his talent. And that's not Brandon Williams' fault. And Phil Jones is on 80 grand a week. He's never been fit. Luke Shaw is on nearly 200 grand a week. And so is Harry Maguire. They don't justify those wages. Fair play for them for getting them. It's stupidity from United. I've got no problem with the player. But do I give Luke Shaw a new contract? And it's a more pressing, urgent conversation than what we've just had with Martial, because you've got to figure this out quick. You've got to know quickly. Ten Hag's going to have to make this decision in the next 3 or 4 months. Do I give Luke Shaw a new contract? He's not going to take a pay cut. Let's be honest. You might be able to make him take a pay cut, but realistically, then they're not going to want it. They're going to want an increase, really. Do I give Luke Shaw a new contract? I look at Malacia and I think, really, the plan with Malacia over the next 18 months has got to be that he's going to be the first choice left back. So do I want to pay 200 grand a week for the backup left back? No, I don't. So to be honest with you, I've got a really big decision to make here. I'm either going to go, I think Luke Shaw is going to be my first choice left back for the next 3 years, give him a new contract. Or I'm going to go, I think Malacia is going to be my first choice left back. I'm not going to give him a new contract. And that's the differential decision for me. If I think Luke Shaw is going to be my first choice left back and Malacia is going to be backup for the next 3 years, I give him a new contract. If I think Malacia is going to come through and be the first choice and Shaw is going to be the backup, I'm an idiot to renew a contract on 200 grand a week for a backup left back. And that's the choice to make. Ideally, I need to look at that over the next 2 or 3 months and know where I am. And that's what Ten Hag would do. And that's what I would do. But if you're asking me right here, right now, yes or no, it's a really hard one because I've got to make a decision on who my first choice left back is for the next 3 years. Because I cannot have a backup left back who's on that amount of money. I don't have the facts. I don't have the evidence. I don't know. You're asking me to choose Luke Shaw, who's had a bad year, to give him a new contract as my first choice left back and say that Malacia is never going to be it, or to go, Malacia, who's had a handful of games, will be my first choice left back, and therefore Luke Shaw will have to go because I can't pay that amount of money for a backup. It's a really tough one to make, and hence I would look at your poll. You've gone yes 57% and no 43%, and I understand that. I understand why it's close. Wouldn't it benefit Martial and Rashford to stay quiet on a new contract, play well, and then come back at the end of the season with more leverage? To Stephen, yeah, stay fit, play well. That's what it's all about. So, if you're forcing me to make a decision, which I know you are, I think I've got to say no. And that really surprises me because I'm a big fan of Luke Shaw. But I think I've got to say no if I'm making a decision right now. Because I'm going to say the future is Malacia. I've bought him in. I believe in him. In a year's time, he will be my number one left back. I can't renew your contract on that money to be my rotational left back. So there are some players coming through. Alvaro Fernandez is very good in the youth. I can probably buy somebody for 15, 20 million. I'm not going to renew your contract. That's probably what I do. And you know what? That surprises me because I'm a massive fan of Luke Shaw. And maybe in 2 or 3 months, he makes it very obvious he's one of the best left backs in the world. And I do want to renew it. But right here, right now, I probably would lean on the no. But that's a ruthless thing to do. I would only give Shaw a new contract if he consistently performs at his best and he's our primary left back. Yeah, Jack, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Okay, so let's close that one, which leaves us on Marcus Rashford before we talk about something else. Marcus Rashford, new contract. I'm loving this tonight. It's great. The conversation and interactivity. Can I just shout out as well? Make sure you watch the video I did with Ben Foster on the channel today. It was really good. And when you've watched that, make sure you watch the Football Fill-In on his channel with Troy Deeney. First time I met Troy Deeney and really, really enjoyed it. We had quite a good bit of banter. But I was speaking to him about what he'd said about Fred. He actually did say that Fred was a player that they targeted when he played for Watford because you know he's going to take too many touches. And he was talking about how Casemiro doesn't do that, so he wouldn't be a weak link to target. I'm going to do the memberships in a minute. Would you give Marcus Rashford a new contract? A lot of people saying yes. I'll be quick on this one. If I've got to make a decision right here, right now on whether to give Rashford a new contract or not, it has to be a yes. And there's a number of reasons, really. The first one is that I believe there's a player there and I believe Ten Hag will get it out of him. And therefore, yes. The second thing is, he's 24. I think he's 25 in December. You cannot let that contract run down. You cannot. You cannot have Marcus Rashford at 25 walking out the door for nothing. Like, you can't. It's stupid. So you've got to be looking to give him a new contract. I said in the summer that he's got to earn it, and it's too early to give it to him. But the way Rashford is managed, I mean, wasn't his brother is his agent, was speaking to PSG, even flew over there. There will be interest in Rashford, and you've got to balance this here. The danger is, there's two dangers here. One is there will be interest in Rashford. He's the sort of player that if United don't give him a new contract, somebody big will go, I can get more out of him. Whether it's an Arsenal, a PSG, a Real Madrid, whatever. There will be interest in him. So you can't let the contract run down. The problem is, if he's on 200 grand a week at the moment, the profile of the player he is, and the brand he is, his agents will be saying, we want 300, 350. That's the problem you've got, is it's not so much about extending his contract. It's the wage that they will want. They will want big money because they will know that if his contract runs down, PSG or someone will give him 300 grand a week because he'll be free. So United are going to get themselves into a problem with Rashford, because what comes with Rashford and what another club will give, they will give him big money. So it's not so much giving him the new contract that I would give him the new contract. It's the wages that he's going to want. Does Rashford justify a wage increase? And the answer is no, he doesn't. If you look at Rashford between his last contract and now, he doesn't deserve to go from 200 to 350 grand. He doesn't deserve to go to 300 grand. But that's what the contract will cost, because Marcus Rashford's people will quite rightly say, we've got 18 months left on our deal. We're not signing a deal unless it's 300 grand a week and 5 years. We want a big payday. This is his big contract. He's 25. It's prime years now. We want a big payday. And I think United will pay it. I don't think they should, but I think they will. But then again, the alternative is if you don't give it, he'll run his contract down. So unlike De Gea, unlike Martial, and unlike Shaw, where I think we've got a bit of bargaining, I think on Rashford, he has got the club by the balls, or his team behind him have got the club by the balls, because we can't let his contract run down, and he's going to want big wages, because he knows he'll get big wages if his contract runs down and he's a free agent. So I'm afraid to say, whether you like it or not, Rashford's in control here. United know they've got to give him a new contract, and they know they've got to give him a big contract. So the only way that United really can make this work is if Rashford plays well. Because if Rashford plays well and scores loads of goals, nobody's going to complain about a contract for 300 grand, which is what he's going to ask for. So what we need to happen with Rashford is that he plays really, really well, and then that nullifies the fact that we're going to have to pay big to keep him, because he's in a position where, with 18 months left on the contract, he's got the power, not us. So I would give him a new contract. I wouldn't want to be working on what we've got to give him, quite simply. Is having a big brand going to score goals, says Chris? No, but United have backed themselves into a corner here where Rashford's powerful. And be interesting to see what happens. Let's get Bruno firing again, says Mark Holder. If Rashford wasn't English, he would be sold, says Luke 82. Ronaldo's on £500,000 a week, says Anton. Yeah, but Ronaldo... I mean, look, you know what? There's a question for you. We've got the option of another year on Ronaldo in the summer. Do you take that up? There you go. We'll do a poll on that. I wasn't expecting to do it. But would you activate another year of Ronaldo? Because we can do it. We can keep him for another year. On £500,000 a week, we can keep him for another year. He's got no say in it at all. We can keep Ronaldo for another year. So next season, would you do it? It's a lot of money. It's £2 million a month. It's £12 million to keep him for another year. If we're in the Champions League, I'll probably do it. If we're in the Champions League, I'll probably do it. But look, that you don't have to say yes or no to that now. I'm not even going to be held yes or no now. There's so many differentials. If Ronaldo desperately wants to go, what's the point? If Ronaldo wants to stay, Ten Hag's got to make the decision. If he scores 20 goals again, you'd be an idiot not to do it. If Martial stays injury prone and you need to buy a striker in the summer, you need Ronaldo as well. So there's loads of ifs, buts and maybes with it, but I do feel that it might be an option. And I think the interesting thing with Ronaldo is, and look, I'm a massive fan of Ronaldo, everyone knows it. I'll always defend him, he's a legend. I think he's earned that right, and I think he's a fantastic player. But what pleased me most about the Everton game yesterday is that these people who say he's fallen off, I and many others felt that it was just match sharpness. I don't think he's fallen off at all. I think he's an absolute monster when it comes to fitness. I don't think he's fallen off at all. But people were starting to say, well, he's 37, he's going to be 38 in February, he's fell off. I think what we saw yesterday is that Ronaldo's not the player he was 5 years ago. He's not as mobile. But the goal he scored against Everton yesterday, the way he made the run, the way he maintained the pace and caused Cody problems, and the way that he finished, that could have been last season. I don't think yesterday we saw any difference between Ronaldo yesterday and last season. So for these people who are saying he's fallen off, I don't think he has fallen off. I think he's the same player he was last year now that he's got his match fitness back. So you've got to look at that in May and go, is he still the same player in May as he has been for the last year? And if he is, maybe you want to keep it. But yeah, look, I think the Martial one is interesting, and it doesn't surprise me that we've got 56% saying yes and 44% saying no. But I wouldn't say you've got to make the decision on that yet. I really wouldn't. I think that will be one for the future. Right, I'm going to do these memberships. Bloody hell, I didn't realise it was that much to do 50. I'm not doing 50. I'll do 20. Fucking hell, it's 100 quid. What I'll do is I'll do 20 and I'll do another 20 in a couple of weeks and then another 20 after that. Okay, so there we go. 20 memberships coming out. If you get one, well done. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. If you've got a badge next to your name, 20 of you are about to get it. There it is. Thank you very much. Major says, if Ronaldo plays a major role to get us into the Champions League, surely he deserves a chance to play in it. Yeah, and I think that would probably be a big thing. Yeah, definitely. If you want to become a member, by the way, you will get a badge next to your name, and we do exclusive video content as a thank you as well. So thanks for supporting the channel if you are already a member, and if you are a new one, welcome. We will give another 20 of those out very, very soon as well. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about tonight? There was a story about Diego de Gea potentially leaving. I haven't included de Gea in this because he's in a similar situation to Rashford and De Gea, where his contract's up in 18 months, and Luke Shaw. But with de Gea, I know that the contract will be offered. And if De Gea wants to run his contract down, he's not the right player for us anyway. So I think 90% of us would say give De Gea a new contract, and that will be offered, and hopefully he will sign it, and I think he will sign it, because if he wants to run his contract down, why is he at Man United in the first place? So I don't include De Gea in this. I think there will be interest. I think Barcelona's scouted him. There's a lot of interest in Italy. But if he's a first team player for Manchester United, he's going to sign the contract and he's going to stay, and he should get the contract. So I've got no issue with De Gea. Fred's the only other one. With 18 months on his contract, I think it's time to let Fred go. Yeah, I'd let that contract run down. He's 29. In 18 months, he's going to be 30. That's the sort of player that you let the contract run down. I mean, maybe you even try and sell him for 10 million in the summer, but I wouldn't be giving Fred a new contract. No, he's very clearly going to be a backup player now. I don't know what Fred's wage is, but it'll be over 100 grand a week. I think Fred's an honest player that's always going to give everything when you use him. But for me, I'd be saying to Fred, look, this is your last season at United, get a move in the summer. If you don't want to get a move and you want to run your contract down, you'll be wasting a year. You'll get your free move in 18 months. But yeah, realistically, you're a bench player now, and you can get a move in the summer if you want, or you can stay for 18 months. Congratulations to the whole United stand team on this massive landmark. Stop being cheap, Marks, as Aidza. And Blazing Ace, thank you very much for being a member for 3 months. I just want to say two things, really. One, amazing. To be the first football fan channel to hit 1.5 million subscribers is amazing. This community is amazing. Unlike a lot of other football channels, and some of them have fallen away, renamed, all sorts of stuff. We were quite late. The other big ones that you can think of for other clubs, they've been going 2, 3, 4 years longer than us. So we came to it late, and we are number one, and that's because of you. And sometimes I don't like using the word humble, because you can't describe yourself as humble, but we are quite reserved. I'm not really in for, oh yeah, we're the best and everything like that. But I think sometimes you've got to acknowledge it, and we are the best. And right now we are the best, and that's down to you. So thank you very much for that, and well done to all of you for it. And the second thing I want to say is that I've really enjoyed that show tonight, and I'm going to look at ways that we can do that more often, because whilst discussing it and interacting, we've actually also had these very visual voting system that's allowed you for us to gauge where we're at with it as well, which I think really, really helps. So I love doing the player ratings, as you know. If you're not aware, we do the player ratings in the last 20 minutes of every match, and then we go through on the match reaction. And yesterday, I think we had 10,000 people voting, and everyone's marking a player out of 10 from 6 being average with the star, and you get these player ratings. And I give mine, and on some of them we were very close yesterday. So look, I love all that. I think it's great to have that interactivity. Zero Blade says, great show tonight, Mark, and everyone in the chat. Thank you very much. I really enjoyed it tonight. And yeah, it's Monday night. We're really pleased with that result yesterday as well. Really pleased with it. Something to build upon, hopefully. Got some really big games coming up. And obviously we've got a game on Thursday, which I think is another opportunity to give people a little bit more game time. I'm talking first team players as well. But yeah, look, positivity. Really pleased with it. And, you know, I think that idiots, as I would describe them, say that we only prosper and grow off negativity. I mean, clearly they've never watched the channel because, yes, I think collectively all of us have got every right to be vocal when the team is shit and not performing well. But we've also been really positive and excited when we have had those rare moments of positivity. And, you know, look at yesterday. Look at the wins against Liverpool and Arsenal. And, you know, we've all been very excited about that. And unfortunately, the Man City thing pierced it. But, you know, I look back at the Europa League finals. They were very exciting as well. We want to see more of that. We want to see more of that because I probably the same as you, I enjoy the yesterdays more than I enjoy the Man City derby where we get smashed. I enjoy seeing positivity and growth than I do seeing and raging about another bloody stupid mistake at the back. So I'm hopeful that under this manager that I wanted and many of you wanted for these reasons that we will see development and growth. And yeah, let's wait and see what happens. But look, thanks everyone. Congratulations to all of you. And I will speak to you all tomorrow. Thank you very much. Take care. And don't forget, Boohoo Man, scan the QR code, 40% off. Goldbridge is the code. This is the sort of stuff you can get hold of. Thanks to Boohoo Man. Some lovely stuff out there. Very reasonably priced. Even better with the 40% discount.